So I've had a lot of live directed voiceover sessions with clients over the past month, and it's really caused me to get back to basics on how do you do a live directed voiceover session with a client. I'm Joel Schrank. I'm a voiceover talent and audio expert. I'm going to talk about that right now. So you've gotten the voiceover job, and the client wants to have a live directed session. You might be a little bit nervous, especially if you haven't done many of them before. And your first inclination might be to go over the script tons and tons of times to make sure you've got it down pat, to make sure you know every last detail about the script, you've got it all marked up, you know exactly how to say it and exactly what you're going to say. Well, somewhat counterintuitively, I would suggest not doing that. In fact, when I get a voiceover script for a live session, I usually don't look at it until about maybe 30 minutes before the session. I'll go over it once just to make sure that I kind of have it in my mind. I don't get tripped up on any words, make sure that I've kind of marked down any pronunciations that I might need to look up or ask the client about, any acronyms, or just phrasings that I want to ask the client about. And just so that I'm somewhat familiar with the script. But I've found that if I go over it again and again and again, I become too tied to my own read. And when you're in a directed session, you need to be able to be directed by the client. I just had a video the other day about flexibility, and that's what this is all about. You have to be flexible with what the client wants you to do. And I found that if you read it too much, if you read the script too much, you lose some of that flexibility and you become too tied to your version of the read, and you're not able to take that direction from the client. So number two, how do you connect with the client for a directed session? Well, there are a couple different ways that are pretty industry standard for voiceover. The one that I've used a lot lately is called Source Connect. It's a way that you can connect with the client and transmit broadcast quality audio so they record things on their end. And I have a whole other video that talks in detail about how to use Source Connect, which I've linked in the description below. One little pro tip for you on that, though, record things on your end too, just in case something were to happen on the client side, if they lost some data, if they didn't get things recorded correctly, or sometimes in Source Connect, there can be little dropouts here and there depending on your internet connection. But if you've got things recorded on your end as well, it looks really professional and is really helpful to the client if you can just say, hey guys, don't worry about it. I've got that take. I can send it on to you later. Another really common way that clients like to connect for directed sessions is through a phone patch. And that's where you're just talking to the client on the phone, essentially, and they give you direction. Now, they're not recording things on their end like they would with Source Connect. You're still recording on your end, but they're able to hear what you're doing. They can give you some ideas on direction and what they'd like you to do with the script. And then the last way I've seen it done is over video chat. So through Zoom or Skype or one of the other video chat services. And the client will, again, just like a phone patch, not record things on their end. You're still recording it on your side, but they'll just give you some ideas on what they want you to do direction-wise for the voiceover script. So what do you do when you get on the actual call with the client? Well, depending on who all is present, you might need to introduce yourself. There may be some people that you haven't met, and so you might need to get their names as well. I usually find it's nice to write those down so I don't forget. And then if I have any questions on the script or any questions on just the tone, pronunciations, things like that, I'll usually go over that just on the front end to make sure that I get it right before I do my first read. And then usually I find it's best just to let the client guide the session. Some people might want you to read just little chunks, maybe a sentence or a full paragraph, and then give you feedback. Some might want you to go through the entire thing, and then they'll give you feedback on the whole thing. And so just let them guide the session, ask questions as you need to, let them give you direction, and try to be as open as you can to giving them the direction that they're asking for. So I hope that's been helpful to you. Best of luck in your voiceover journey, and we'll talk to you again soon.